President Trump speaking about his controversial executive order, one that bars 134 million people from 7 Muslim-majority countries from coming to the United States.
It's not a Muslim ban, but we were totally prepared. It's working out very nicely. You see it at the airports, you see it all over. It's working out very nicely, and we're going to have a very, very strict ban, and we're going to have extreme vetting, which we should have had in this country for many years.
Moments ago, Shannon, President Trump now saying Sunday was a very good day for Homeland Security. This after protests were held at various airports across the country. Supporters of this new ban on visitors from 7 countries say the president's executive action makes sense. That temporary travel ban taking effect over the weekend, restricting visitors and refugees from 7 countries affected by terrorism.
What could be a stunning blow to President Trump's travel ban? A federal judge at this hour granting a Washington attorney general's request to immediately halt President Trump's executive order on immigration nationwide. Okay, the attorney general, Bob Ferguson, spoke just moments ago about his request for a temporary block. Literally just finished speaking. Here's part of what he said.
The short answer is yes. Want to be very clear. What the judge announced today was nationwide. The president's executive order does not apply.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're witnessing organized crime taking place in the United States to destroy our borders, our sovereignty, our culture, and to flood us with military-age men, jihadis, who are sworn in many cases to attack the people of this nation and enforce Sharia law. It's a fact. Look at the almost weekly attacks in France and Germany, and now it's happening here in the United States, and the media trying to cover it up. It's outrageous. And Trump did nothing but enforce a 2013 law. He did nothing but do the right thing and actually defend this country. That's a president's job. And what happened? Well, the mainstream media began to beat a drum for weeks that this was the greatest criminal act in history and that Trump was this horrible person. So the American people have that. And that's what's so frustrating about this is the public, at least on one side of the fence, is so ignorant about all these things. And they watch the MSM praise this judge's decision like it's something heroic. And Der Spiegel has the image of Trump cutting the head off the Statue of Liberty. When at Ellis Island, they tested people for diseases. They're not testing them for diseases coming in now. And they're bringing people in from 6 countries, many of which don't even have working airports, like Somalia or Sudan, that only has a military airport for bombing Christians in the South. These are failed insane asylum states that sell women on the block every week at markets into slavery. You're talking about going back beyond the dark ages here. And they're just saying, oh, unvetted, you have some fake passport, come right in. And then the president tries to do something that Obama did, piecemeal, and they're calling it the end of the world, and oh, look at the airports shut down, all these problems. That was a Delta computer glitch. They know that. I've tried to fly into Canada before because of my politics. They try to turn me away. This happens. Countries have the right to let in who they want and who they don't want. We elected Trump to do this. Destroying the Goldman Sachs agenda. That's why I brought in Goldman Sachs experts that know how to actually dismantle their whole corporate world government. And that's why the system is in total, complete panic, going to intensify their efforts to try to stop Trump securing our borders, securing our sovereign republic, cutting taxes, getting big banks to loan to small businesses. Just everything he's doing is classic Americana. What you do if you really wanted to jumpstart and save the economy. It's amazing. Investigating vaccines, pulling out of the carbon tax and the Paris climate talks. All this made-up global government crap. The whole Soros agenda is going down in flames, but they've never failed in other countries, so they're doubling down because they think they're invincible. But again, get behind President Trump. What he's doing, battling the courts and battling the corrupt establishment that wants open borders and to set the precedent to flood us with jihadis, is common sense. And so get behind him battling these people. They're trying to act like this is a big defeat for him. No, he upset the primaries. He upset the election. He's got more done in 15 days than any other president before him in the last 50 years. He's destroying globalism. He's crushing political correctness. He's hitting on all cylinders. It's amazing. And now they want to try to spin all this to stall his presidency. And of course, this won't do it. But it's all part of the talking point that he's a failure. He creates chaos. Alex.
Hello, welcome to the Truths. Today we're talking about Trump's 7-nation ban.
President Trump speaking about his controversial executive order, one that bars 134 million people from 7 Muslim-majority countries from coming to the United States.
I suppose what we think on the Truths is what's happened is terrible, but how did we arrive at this point where it's possible to temporarily ban travel for people from 7 nations? The nations in this instance, Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria and Yemen. Interestingly, they have produced 7% of all the Muslim terrorists who have carried out terrorist attacks in the United States since 2001, and not a single person has died in any of those attacks. So you're not preventing, whatever you're preventing by doing this, it's not death. So that's sort of irrational and odd, isn't it? Here's some further information from globalresearch.ca. I think it's a Canadian website. You can find out yourself. Have a look at this. We can see here that of terrorism carried out on US soil between 1980 and 2005, 42% of it was carried out by Latinos, 5% by communists. So it would be just as rational to ban Latino people or others. Others, we're all in trouble. Others done 16%. So now we know it's not rational. What is it? Why is this happening? I suppose we all know that a lot of Donald Trump's campaigning was done on the basis of America first. We're going to be drawing a line under this problem of terror. But what is terror? Continually, what is adjudged to be terrorism has at its roots, in this modern Islamic sense, the idea that it's motivated by religion. But that's only part of the narrative, as that any of us who sort of concentrate for 15, 20 minutes or so understand. There are historical reasons for conflict between Western Occidental nations and nations in the Middle East. Economic reasons, reasons of dabbling in people's democracy, like in Iran, the relationship between oil-producing companies like Saudi Arabia and the American Saudi Arabia, who interestingly aren't on the list and are a massive client, buying billions and billions of dollars of arms for America. Between 2009 and 2015, the US have sold arms to Saudi Arabia worth more than 100 billion. Britain licensed more than 3.3 billion worth of arms to Saudi Arabia in 2016 alone. I mean, I'm not complaining. Put Saudi Arabia on the list as well. But there are clearly submerged narratives that tell a different story.
That order signed Friday, leading to instant chaos and confusion at airports at home and around the world. Travelers not allowed to board flights bound for the U.S., some including children detained upon landing.
What we can see is that the dominant narrative is actually an economic one. The primary relationships are economically led relationships, and the whole narrative of religious conflict and terror is a secondary narrative that's promoted to the forefront as a distraction. Is this a recent phenomenon? No. Donald Trump is merely building upon an established idea. We already had Guantanamo Bay, interestingly a place where people are tortured, deemed torturable, the kind of torture that Donald Trump would like to continue, which takes place off American soil. Outside of America itself, it becomes permissible to commit torture. So if once you've decided that people are torturable, once you've decided that people it's safe to kill in drone strikes, which has been going on throughout the Obama administration, you're moving towards a point where it's natural to exclude people on the basis of religion.
Now, Trump maintains this process is a process that needs to be done in order to keep potential terrorists out of America and to keep Americans safe.
The very definition of terrorism is something that needs to be questioned when you can see that more people are dying as a result of school shootings than what we would conventionally describe as terror. Of course, people die from terrorism, but not as many people die from brain-eating parasites, alcoholism, obesity, medical errors, risky sexual behaviour. Watch out for that, everyone. Or all manner of potential causes of death that are not promoted and framed in the same way, because these diseases and conditions don't frame the cultural narrative in a way that's helpful to control the domestic population and to continually frame one group of people as being the other, the irrational religious other, not the rational secular nation state that will use violence, that will use prejudice, that will use law to maintain its power.
From the shadow of the Statue of Liberty to the gates of the White House. Refugees are welcome here. A weekend of protests over President Trump's immigration crackdown.
My personal feeling is what Donald Trump represents is the end of the illusion that politics is inoffensive, neoliberal, and ultimately caring, that the intention of the powerful is to look out for the population on a whole. That veil has been lifted. There's something about the grotesqueness of Donald Trump, there's something about the obviousness of a policy such as this one that reveals once and for all what has long been concealed. That if you demarcate certain people as bombable, torturable, religious, therefore irrational and inferior, you will ultimately end up with these kind of populist measures. It's fantastic that there is now like a backlash and a genuine protest movement, but it's important, I think, that what Donald Trump has done is placed in a historical context of long-standing prejudice against Muslim people and an international policy that is defined and determined by economics above all else.